And the similar way, network. We will assume there is a single network is available, but what happens, the network access to the resources may be through multiple resources and multiple networks will be used in the actual case. And the virtualization means user applications accesses a server, but in fact accessing the multiple servers. It is not a single server, but it will be using a multiple server. Similarly, a virtualized desktop means the user application can change and deploy multiple desktops, though the access by the user is through their own computer platform or their own OS, but it will be running through multiple OS and platforms or remote computers, right? So we will be seeing only your desktop, but the program computation will be done in different systems or different platforms. What are the features and advantages of the cloud computing? So cloud computing is an on-demand self-service for the users. It provides the storage, computing servers, software delivery and the server time. So these four parameters are available here. One is storage. A cloud storage is possible. A computing service, so the computation can be done in remote servers. Then the software can be used whenever we need it, and there are some server time. We can use the server time, right? And the resource pooling and multi-tenant model. So there is going to be something like a tenant architecture, and you can get whatever resource you like on a tenant basis, right? So that is actually the resource pooling in multi-tenant model. And a network broad accessibility in virtualized environment to the heterogeneous users, clients, systems and services. So the heterogeneous, different types of users are there, say for example throughout the world, right? So it may be the language may be differing, the time may be different. So different type of users or clients will be there, different types of systems will be connected to the internet, and different types of devices can be connected to internet. So there should be a network broad accessibility. So there should be an accessibility of all these virtualized environment for different platforms. And of course what we have said, it is elasticity. So the systems may be near or it can be far away. And what are the features and advantages? So here actually the massive scale availability, right? So since it's a network of computers, the network can be expanded or less diminished, so there can be the scaling up or scaling down, which will be very quick. And massive scale is available, right? So there is plenty of computers are available at our servers. And the maintainability, comparably we can easily maintain it, so that periodically applications can be done. The homogeneity, like we will be assuming only one system is running, so some sort of homogeneity is there, and the virtualized environment is there. So these are all some features. And the interconnectivity platform with virtualized environment for the enterprises. So a big enterprise which spans over different countries, right? So they will be having the same platform, right? All of whatever may be the country, they will be using a same platform because of this cloud computing services. And there should be provision of some service level agreements, right? So that should be provided by the cloud service provider and the user of the cloud service, right? And it's a resilient computing. Of course, whenever there is a problem, right? Already we had experienced some problems in Twitter sometime, Gmail sometime. So whenever there is some problem, the system is resilient because enough backup and proper maintenance is done there. And advanced security, so we are actually trusting some third party, and we are providing all my data or all our data in the cloud service. So, and they will ensure the proper security of this and comparably low cost. So instead of purchasing a complete system for storing in our own thing, and we are just taking the we are just by paying some small amount, we are using the servers which are maintained by some other providers. And what are the concerns or what are the problems we can say? The main problem of cloud computing is it requires a constant high-speed internet connection, right? So if the internet fails, everything will fail, right? So that is actually the main concern. The second thing is limitations of the service available, right? So say for example, there are plenty of softwares available, and whatever software you need, you can install it in your own system, right? Supposing if it's a single system. But since it is going to be a service in a single server, all the systems may not be available, right? So the services offered to the user as on date is limited, but of course it is being expanded every day. and there's a possible data loss. Sometimes it is almost it's 0% because we have enough measures, right, to ensure preventing the data loss, but there is a possibility of data loss, we can say. And the non-delivery defined as per the SLA specified, right? So we will be having some agreement, and there may be some lapses in the agreement, so that the quality of service may be compromised at some point of time, right? So the non-delivery as per the defined SLA is actually another concern. And the different APIs and protocols used at different clouds. Again, this is there's a compatibility issue, right? Say for example, there are different applications are available, different APIs are available based on the service providers, and one program or one function that is useful for accessing data in one data center or a database may not be useful to access the data in some other data center or some other database, right? Because they are these two services are provided by different cloud providers. So in that case, there is a incompatibility, we can say, right? They are not compatible, right? So the APIs and protocols may not be compatible to each other. So there is actually a compliance issue will be there. And the security in multi-tenant environment needs high trust, right? So because we are providing every data to the internet, and we should have the high trust and low risk, and the loss of users control should be there in the security. So these are all some important factors regarding the security of the system or security of our data. And the cloud deployment models and the cloud service models. So there are 4 cloud deployment models are as such available. One is actually a public cloud. A public cloud is one, say for example, most of the cases the government is providing some cloud, right? Say for example, the GOs, right? The government orders published by the government will be provided in a central server, or some free and open source applications may be provided by some educational institutions, right? So these things comes under the public cloud. So everybody can have access to the public cloud. That is, the data is fully public. Anybody can access the data. That is part 1. The part 2 is actually a private cloud, and in the case of private cloud, exclusive for the use by institutions, right? So only the users of the one particular private company or private institution can have the access over it. So some institutions, some industries, some business or enterprises, they will be having their own private cloud, and only the members of that community or that particular people will be using that. That is actually called as the private cloud. Say for example, we are having our own Google Drive, right? So that is actually a cloud, and we can all use that data available from anywhere. So that is actually a cloud, but that will be accessible only for the faculties or employees or students of the Sai Ram College of Engineering. So that is actually a private cloud. And some community cloud, right? So this is actually a people community, right? Something like exclusive for the use of a community formed by institutions. It's a group of institutions or group of industries or group of people, so they can have their own community cloud, can be used for sharing the data among them. And the hybrid, so any two combinations of the above two, right? So there are already have defined 3 things. One is public, second is private, the third one is community. The combination of any 2 or 3 in the above is actually called as the hybrid cloud. And again, we have already seen XaaS, right? What is XaaS? Now we are actually going to define it. So it is a cloud computing, and it has 4 possible XaaS, right? The first thing is software as a service, right? So there are plenty of softwares are available, and those softwares will be offered as a service whenever actually required. Say for example, our office is actually a software, and we can use it in our own system, or if you want, you can use the Office 365 or Google Sheet, right? That is actually provided by the Office, that is provided by the Google as a service, right? So that is software as a service. And a platform as a service, right? So we are going to have some platform in our IoT syllabus itself. We are actually having some free, say for example, ThinkSpeak, right? That is actually a free IoT platform, right? So the platform will be provided as a service. The infrastructure as a service. So the hardware as well as software, this complete environment can be offered as a service. Or the data as the service. We are going to see, of course, example for this. Some data can be used as a service. So whenever I need, I can access the particular data. So the data can be accessed as a service. Right. Now we are going to see one by one each. So the first thing is SAS, the responsibilities of the cloud service provider. So what is actually the responsibilities of a service provider, right? When it is the case of software as a service. So they should have the control over the software, right? So they will be allotting you some time or some accessibility to the software. So they have the overall controller and they have to maintain it, because every software has to be periodically maintained and the cache data has to be cleared, right? Supposing if it does generate some junk data, so that has to be cleared. So the maintenance of the service has to be done by the cloud service provider, and updation to the new version and infrastructure, right? So there may be a upgrade in the hardware or upgrade in the software. So whatever has to be done, that should be done by the cloud service provider. And the platform resources requirement. Supposing we want to use that particular software, then we need minimum RAM should be some 8 GB, right? Minimum RAM should be some 16 GB. So there are some resource requirements or resource constraints are there, and this particular software can work only on Windows platform. This will work only on Linux platform, something like that will be there. So it is the responsibility of the cloud service provider to provide the proper platform and resources. PaaS, platform as a service. So here the platform is given there, and the responsibilities of the cloud service provider is, first he has to provide the platform, then he has to provide the network for that in order to access that particular platform. He need to provide the software and hardware resources for it, right? What are the application software and what is the minimum RAM, what is the storage and all those things. It has to be properly maintained, it should be updated, and the security should also be taken care, right? So these are all some responsibilities of the cloud service provider for a PaaS. And examples here we can say MS Azure, right? Google App Engine System, Xively or Nimbus, AWS IoT. So these are all some IoT related platforms, right? IaaS, infrastructure as a service.